What's really funny to me is that Facebook, or Meta, is a company that really gets made fun of on all corners of the internet. They got made fun of when they went all in on the metaverse and they changed their name to Meta AI. Mark Zuckerberg gets made fun of because he looks like a lizard person. And of course, the whole Apple Vision Pro versus Quest 3, they say that the Apple Vision Pro is going to kill the Meta Quest 3. But if we just solely zoom in on AI research, Meta AI is absolutely killing the game. They are crushing it. It is phenomenal what they release. Almost everything they announce is open source or will be open source in the future, and their AI research is actually really, really well done. It's great stuff. They release high quality, cutting edge stuff. Where if you look at Google, their research is really good. It's really cool stuff, but we never get to see it. And when we do get to see it, it's actually pretty lackluster and very nannied down. I literally just made a video about Google's new Soundstorm AI speech synthesis technology, and Meta AI has to come in here and completely rain on Google's parade by releasing research that is quite a bit better and more impressive. So viewers, let's just dive right into this one. I want to start you viewers off with a little bit of context. Today we're talking about speech synthesis AI. As of late, 11 Labs has been the best in terms of speech synthesis. It can clone voices in a little over an hour very, very accurately. For example, this is my voice that has been cloned with a little bit of speech from my videos. The voices sound very accurate, the speech is very clear, it sounds audiobook level clear, and they've also got support for multiple languages. And 11 Labs is releasing new stuff all the time. They've been staying up to date with the game, but I don't know, Meta's new research here might just put 11 Labs right into a hole. We'll get a little example of how good 11 Labs is though.
Hello, my name is Matt Vid Pro AI. If you don't subscribe right this very second, I will tell my custom chat GPT bot to chase after you and end your pathetic life. Mwahahaha.
Okay, so yeah, you can see 11 Labs is pretty good. It sounds almost identical to my voice, and to be honest, 11 Labs is also better than Google in a lot of ways because you can clone pretty much any voice you want and they don't really do anything about it. And you can also type pretty much whatever you want in here.
Hello, my name is Matt Vid Pro AI. If you don't subscribe right this very second, I will tell my custom chat GPT bot to chase after you and end your pathetic life. Mwahahaha.
See, it's pretty good with the emotion, too. It's pretty good. So, the actual news here is Meta AI introducing Voicebox, which they say is the most versatile AI for speech generation. That's a bold claim because, as we just saw, 11 Labs is phenomenal. I have yet to see an AI that comes close to replicating the clarity that 11 Labs can produce. They have a little video for us to check out here, a little demo. There's actually a lot of demos, but this is the first one, and we'll take a listen to it.
Hola a todos. This is Voicebox, a new AI foundation model for speech that does some pretty awesome things. If you give it text, it can read it in a bunch of different styles.
Penelope Porcupine and Sammy Sloth danced gracefully in the treetops.
Penelope Porcupine and Sammy Sloth danced gracefully in the treetops.
And you can use it to fix background noise too, kind of like an eraser, but for audio. Sammy and Penelope's heartwarming friendship inspires joy. Sammy and Penelope's heartwarming friendship inspires joy. We think this is probably the most versatile speech generative model out there. This is still a research project, but I think that we're going to be able to build a lot of interesting things with tools like this.
Wow, thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. The speech synthesis sounds like it's on the right track. It's not super clear like 11 Labs, we'll say, but it's very diverse in how long the generations are and the way that the different voices speak. And we'll also notice with the audio editing or audio noise removal, it is phenomenal. It essentially regenerates the clip, and it sounds completely accurate. That would be massive for YouTubers especially. That is definitely something I would want integrated into a video editing software so I can fix little mess ups because, I mean, if you guys have ever tried to make a YouTube video, we mess up our speech a lot, all right? That's why there's so many cuts and edits But it's not just, trimming the segment out like we've seen before with previous audio AIs. It's regenerating almost the entire thing, or regenerating that portion. Anyways, Voicebox is a generative AI model that can help with audio editing, sampling, and styling. This type of technology could be used in the future to help creators easily edit audio tracks, allow visually impaired people to hear written messages from friends in their own voices, their friends' voices, that is, and enable people to speak in any foreign language in their own voice. Again, this is very similar to 11 Labs level stuff. 11 Labs does not have any editing, but again, it has that perfect voice cloning, and you could speak multilingually with 11 Labs in your own voice. It's really cool. I did a video on it not too long ago. But yeah, this is a competitor to that tech. Google doesn't really have anything of this level. Quick overview of the model. It's non-autoaggressive flow matching, trained to infill speech given audio context and text. We trained an English-only voice box on 60,000 hours of data and a multilingual version on 50,000 hours of data covering 6 languages. So obviously the English-only version's gonna be a little bit more coherent and high quality there. So you can see this is like a little flow of how it is all done. It essentially learns to fill in audio that has been removed. And that's how you get these things to learn how to speak, essentially. So because Voicebox is not autoregressive, it is able to condition on not only past, but also future context. They show off that Voicebox can be used for monolingual and cross-lingual zero-shot text-to-speech synthesis, style conversion, transient noise removal, content editing, and diverse sample generation. So it is able to be multimodal in a way, or multi-use case. First, we're going to start off with the transient noise removal, which is essentially taking out entire background issues, such as a doorbell ringing or a dog barking while recording speech. You don't have to re-record the speech anymore. Voicebox can be used like a magic eraser to remove the transient noise by regenerating noise-corrupted speech. You do actually have to provide it with text too, which I find really interesting. It needs that extra text to be able to accomplish all of these tasks. So here is the noisy speech.
In zero weather, in midwinter, when the earth is frozen to a great depth below the surface, when then driving over the unpaved country roads, they give forth a hard metallic ring.
So the model actually needs to generate that section that has just been entirely removed. That would make sense as to why we have to input text, so it knows what text is supposed to be there. It's essentially doing voice cloning and re-speaking it, but only in that specific section. Let's take a listen to the final output.
In zero weather, in midwinter, when the earth is frozen to a great depth below the surface, when in driving over the unpaved country roads, they give forth a hard metallic ring.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell that it wasn't like that before. We'll have to see if it actually works great on any actual speech. It worked great in Mark Zuckerberg's little demo, but I want to hear more examples.
And leaped and curved it as nimbly as if he had been instabled at rack and manger of full months.
Wow, that's really bad.
Himself a black dog, and he was so then a green tree, and he was so from one thing to another till he was quite sure that he could change himself to anything whatsoever he liked.
That's like really, really bad in there. So we give it the noisy speech, we give it the text transcript of exactly what it's supposed to be saying, we give it the input, which is, again, just the removed portion of that sound, and then it generates a final output.
And leaped and curved it as nimbly as if he had been instabled at rack and manger of full months. Then he wished himself a black dog, and he was so then a green tree, and he was so from one thing to another till he was quite sure that he could change himself to anything whatsoever he liked.
I think if you really pay attention, you can tell the part that is actually AI generated, but in terms of a voice cloning and seamlessly just continuing the audio, it's really, really quite good at just inserting it right in the middle. Like, that is not an easy task to do, and it did a pretty great job, especially with that extremely thick accent in this scenario. Take a listen to this noisy speech.
Lowering it, I remember all my debts and errors, an elegy by Huang Chan, last best loved daughter. Lowering it, I remember all my debts and errors, an elegy by Huang Chan, last best loved
you can't tell.
daughter.
That is perfect right there. That one, can't even tell. It's crazy because it is doing voice cloning there. That is a straight voice clone. and you cannot tell that it's not her actually speaking. So that's a perfect voice clone with like a few seconds of input audio.
The average yachting man, if he be of that stuff which good seamen are made, soon finds his chief delight in being master of his own vessel. He likes to feel that it is his skill, his intellect that rule the ship in which he sails.
So there was some very loud keyboard in the background there.
The average yachting man, if he be of that stuff which good seamen are, soon finds his chief delight in being master of his own vessel. He likes to feel that it is his skills, his intellect that rule the ship in which he sails.
That's good. That's good stuff. I mean, you can picture this in real time for live streams and stuff like that, where people have those extremely loud, clicky keyboards, but you don't actually hear any of that keyboard clicking because the noise is being removed in real time. It would have to be different technology than this. This is not capable of that, I'm sure, but you know, we're off to a great start.
And Valerie was kneeling by the bedside, clasping the poor little corpse to her heart as if she could cling to the life that was gone.
Horrible.
And retain it.
All right, we get it. Oh my gosh.
And Valerie was kneeling by the bedside, clasping the poor little corpse to her heart as if she could cling to the life that was gone and retain it, but it was only the empty casket of her jewel that she held.
Wow, that microphone is terrible, but it actually was able to replicate the terrible sounding microphone as well. So maybe this thing could do sound effects perhaps in the future. Could we train this thing on different kinds of sound effects and generate sound? Because that's what I'm also interested in. Like, speech is great and all, but what about sound? Anyways, again, this is the content editing, correcting misspoken words without having the speaker have to re-record the entire audio clip. This is something I've needed for a long time. Funny enough, guys, Descript actually has this feature built into their audio editor, and it works pretty good, but you have to pay $30 a month to be able to have access to it. Let's see how good this one is.
Will find himself completely at a loss on occasions of common and constant recurrence. Speculative ability is one thing, and a practical ability is another.
So we actually completely changed the sentence here. It's not just like we're removing an or an or you pronounced a single word wrong. We're changing the whole sentence.
Will find himself completely at a loss on rare and unpredictable circumstances. Speculative ability is one thing, and a practical ability is another.
Pretty good. I think the only issue with that was maybe the pausing.
In zero weather, in midwinter, when the earth is frozen to a great depth below the surface, and then driving over the unpaved country roads, they give forth a hard metallic ring.
Again, completely changing the sentence here. A whole portion of it is different, so this is very similar in where we're just straight up doing voice cloning.
In zero weather, in midwinter, when Jack Frost has cast his icy spell upon the land, and then driving over the...
Not as good as the other examples, but that was good.
And especially as I'm not very much up in Latin myself, he said, the suit was on an insurance policy that he was defending on the ground of misinterpretations. And especially as I'm not very much up in Latin myself, he said, the suit was on a classified treasure map that he was defending.
Still, like, decent for sure. Like, I wouldn't really complain about that. If I would probably use that, in fact, when editing my YouTube videos, but there was a little bit of a screwy portion transitioning from the AI generated audio back to the original.
Yet these petty operations, incessantly continued in time, surmount the greatest difficulty. Mountains are elevated and oceans bounded by the slender force of human beings. Yet these petty operations, incessantly continued in time, surmount the greatest difficulty. Vast challenges emerge and unexplored frontiers beckon by the slender force of human beings.
That one was pretty solid. That was rock solid, I would say.
And the Karlsruhe professor had to devise an ingenious apparatus. And the inventive professor...
Yeah, that one wasn't great. So it struggles if the audio and speech isn't very clear and perfect. Something like my YouTube videos, though, I think would be edited fairly well by this, if I had to speculate on it. So let's just go to the zero-shot text-to-speech synthesis. So this is speech that is synthesized with any audio style by taking as input a reference audio of the desired style and the text to synthesize. It produces speech that sounds coherent to the reference in every aspect, including voice, background noise, and speaking style. So it's not just replicating the sound of the voice, it's replicating the microphone too. This is what they claim as a perfect replication of the speech. Let's take a listen to the prompt style. So this is the style of audio that it needs to generate this text based off of.
Gapes, there's the first symptom. Voicebox is the Swiss Army knife of text-to-speech, acing multiple languages, changing voice styles, and dishing out custom samples.
That was really good. That was shocking. Like that, I don't even think this was in English.
Gapes, there's the first symptom.
Yeah, that might have been English, but it's still a very thick accent.
Voicebox is the Swiss Army knife of text-to-speech, acing multiple languages, changing voice styles, and dishing out custom samples.
Very good, very good. That's impressive. I want to hear it with a clearer microphone though. Let's take a listen to some more examples. Again, the target text here that it's going to read out, and here is the style that it needs to read in.
Of expression to the creative genius.
It's like literally 3 seconds of audio to clone an entire voice.
Thus did this humane and right-minded father comfort his unhappy daughter, and her mother, embracing her again, did all she could to soothe a feeling.
That's crazy.
Of expression to the creative genius. Thus did this humane and right-minded father comfort his unhappy.
That's like almost a perfect clone of the entire microphone style, plus the sound of her speech and the way she talks as well. Very, very impressive stuff, especially considering we only have 3 seconds of audio to base all of this text-to-speech off of.
First man to take charge. They moved thereafter cautiously about the hut, groping before and about to find something to show that Warrenton had fulfilled his mission.
Super impressive stuff. That's crazy, man.
Be so fine a place to live, and lay me down in thy cold bed, and leave my shining lot.
It struggles a little bit when you get into those thick accents, but still very impressive.
Suitable aversion equally blocked. And the whole night the tree stood still, and in deep thought.
Yeah, you just claim anyone's voice as your own now and just generate speech with it. That's why they're a little bit wary to release this thing. They apparently still are going to release this to the public as open source software, but they're like waiting on it or something. They're a little bit wary.
And laughed. Best loved dog. Instead of shoes, the old man wore boots with turnover tops, and his blue coat had wide cuffs of gold braid. And laughed. Best loved dog.
I think this one took a little bit of inspiration and took a pretty large guess as to what this woman sounds like.
Instead of shoes, the old man wore boots with turnover tops.
She's kind of yelling.
And his blue coat had wide cuffs of gold braid. And laughed. Best loved dog.
Like, yeah, there's definitely some difference there, but I could expect that woman to sound like that, if that makes sense. So I still think it did a good job.
It seemed the marble rock asunder could have arrived. The army found the people in poverty and left them in comparative wealth.
Yeah, like this is a horrible
The
microphone.
marble rock asunder could have arrived. The army found the people in poverty and left them in comparative wealth.
But still, it doesn't sound like a great microphone was used, so it did a good job there.
Fourth, a hard metallic ring. Yea, his honourable worship is within, but he hath a godly minister or two with him, and likewise a leech.
These text-to-speeches are also pretty difficult too, with some weird words and weird tongue twistingness.
Fourth, a hard metallic ring. He was in deep converse with the clerk, and entered the hall, holding him by the arm.
These voices are similar, but I don't think they're the same.
Fourth, a hard metallic ring. He was in deep converse with the clerk, and entered the hall, holding him by the arm.
In her greeting of him.
Number 10. Fresh Nelly is waiting
These
on
are
you.
different.
Good night, husband.
It sounds like it might not be perfect every single time. Like, listen to how different these two voices are.
In her greeting of him.
Number 10. Fresh Nelly is waiting on you. Good night, husband.
Again, we're only cloning off of 3 seconds of audio, though. I bet if you give it like 10 seconds, it's perfect. Here we go. This is an actual tongue twister.
Francis approved of this answer. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
That was solid. Here, another one.
And drifted back to Lee. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Love it. All right.
Be so fine a place to live. In a land where cat pirates sail, the high seas and dog buccaneers chase their tails. Embark on a swashbuckling comedy adventure in furry buccaneers. The quest for the golden bone.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it seems to work pretty phenomenal. I want to hear it with a clearer audio sample because every audio sample they're giving this thing is like not high quality. Like if you listen to my speech, I have a really nice microphone setup. It's all set up nice. All of this seems to be like these weird clips from 2006 with garbage audio quality. Like I want to hear something good. Too bad we don't have access to it just yet. But if we do get access, I might have to try it out. So we've also got the cross-lingual style transfer. We can generate English with a French prompt, which would enable everyone to speak any language in their own voice one day. Also preserve the original temporal alignment between text and speech, which can be used for converting dubbed speech to the original speaker's voice. Hello, anime people. They're going to love that. The original voice actors in another language can be converted. That is phenomenal stuff. Okay, so we'll listen to the prompt here.
Ils veulent les monter et s'en servir. Ne les gâtent-ils pas?
Obviously a different language. Let's hear it in English.
We see by this example that, admirable as is the progress accomplished in certain regions of physics, there are still many over-neglected regions which remain in painful darkness.
That's fantastic. And they actually have a comparison to your text-to-speech.
We see by this example that admirable as is the progress.
Yeah, that's not very good. I don't even want to listen to that. All right, so we've also got some English to French here. So this is the male voice.
But he could have been with us at Monterey. Il ne pouvait mieux s'adresser qu'à ce seigneur qui était recommandable par mille
I don't speak
qualités.
French, but...
Le barmécide parut étonné de la réponse de mon frère.
Use French speakers. Let me know if this is any good.
La réponse de mon frère, et portant ses deux mains à son estomac, comme pour déchirer son habit en signe de douleur.
Il ne pouvait mieux s'adresser qu'à ce seigneur qui était recommandable par mille qualités. Le barmécide parut étonné de la réponse de mon frère et portant ses deux mains à son estomac comme pour déchirer son habit en signe de douleur.
It's interesting they didn't compare it to 11 Labs, because I could take this text and paste it into 11 Labs and do it in my voice. I'll actually literally do it right now. 11 multilingual with my cloned voice.
Il ne pouvait mieux s'adresser qu'à ce seigneur qui était recommandable par mille qualités. Le barmécide parut étonné de la réponse de mon frère et portant ses deux mains à son estomac comme pour déchirer son habit en signe de douleur.
So you guys will have to let me know. I would love to compare this directly to 11 Labs. Again, all these voices are only trained on 3 seconds of audio, so that's really the impressive part here, because I know you can't do that with 11 Labs. 3 seconds of audio is not enough.
Et lui déchargea plusieurs coups de sabre dans les chairs. Seulement le malheureux en tomba par terre, où il resta sans mouvement, quoiqu'il eût encore l'usage de ses sens.
A terra da promissão. C'est trop de n'avoir pu attirer que votre indifférence. Je ne veux pas y faire succéder la haine.
That's Portuguese to French. I don't speak either of those, so we're just completely in the dark here. We got some more French to English here.
Je me lève à cette heure. It is more than probable he might learn of him the grounds upon which he accustomed himself to so spare a diet. 15. To what purpose? Said Solon.
I like that it still has that French accent in there. That's really, really cool.
Ils veulent les monter et s'en servir. Ne les gâtent-ils pas? We see by this example that, admirable as is the progress accomplished in certain regions of physics, there still exist many over-neglected regions which remain in painful darkness.
I like it. I like that it has that little accent added in. It makes it feel like it really is that same exact voice. Portuguese to English.
De sentir quasi estrangeiros, when they imported the negation of such or such a particular mode of agency, for instance, not to strike such a person or such a...
Sounds kind of robotic.
Sem raias que deslumbra o olhar. Passed within 100 miles of Syracuse, a fact which is stated almost in those very words by the two historians who have recorded the doings of Agathocles and his fleet in those years.
German to English.
Steht und nur der Möwe schreit. Herodotus, describing a war which had been going on for some years between the Lydians and the Medes,
und geradezu in den Wald hinein. As he washed and scrubbed his neglected fur coat,
that's pretty different.
Making
that's
a
a little
complete
too
and
different.
fresh toilet suitable for the kitchen.
And yeah, the examples go on and on and on. They have a ton of them. If you guys speak any of these languages and want to hear like Polish to Spanish or Portuguese to Spanish, stuff like that, you can check out this. I will link it down below. I'm not going to go through every single example. Pretty awesome stuff. That is pretty good. Imagine being able to translate your voice into another language and communicate with someone as if you just speak that language. That would be fantastic. Last but not least, Voicebox can create unique and expressive audio styles by sampling without conditioning on any audio at all.
His conduct and presence of mind in this emergence appeared conspicuous.
So that was like a brand new voice randomly generated to read that out.
His conduct and presence of mind in this emergence appeared conspicuous.
So there's a heavy southern accent on that one.
His conduct and presence of mind in this emergence appeared conspicuous.
I like that. They have a ton of examples for these.
Every plant in the grass is set, formally grows perfectly, and may be realized completely.
Every plant in the grass is set, formally grows perfectly, and may be realized completely.
Every plant in the grass is set, formally grows perfectly, and may be realized completely.
Every plant in the grass is set, formally grows perfectly, and may be realized completely.
Every plant in the grass is set, formally grows perfectly, and may be realized completely.
Every plant in the grass is set, formally grows perfectly, and may be realized completely.
Wow. All right, I mean, that's pretty solid stuff. Maybe not as coherent as the voice cloning, oddly enough, but it really shows you the variation in human voices that we can have with all these different accents. Pretty great stuff.
Is Voicebox.
Oh, this is a voice.
What was that?
Oh, this is a Voicebox demo.
Whoa, interesting.
This is a Voicebox demo.
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 It sounds like the shorter the speech is, the worse it gets in terms of coherency. And it seems to be suffering from some of the similar artifacts that we used to hear with 11 Labs. Similar architecture, possibly? I don't really know too much about how 11 Labs works under the hood, but this could be similar. So they've also got this ethics statement here. I'll let Matt with 11 Labs read this one out.
Ethics statement. As with other powerful new AI innovations, we recognize this technology brings the potential for misuse and unintended harm. In our paper, we detail how we built a highly effective classifier that can distinguish between authentic speech and audio generated with Voicebox to mitigate these possible future risks. There are many exciting use cases for generative speech models, but because of the risks of misuse, we are not making the Voicebox model or code publicly available at this time. While we believe it's important to be open with the AI community and to share our research to advance the state of the art in AI, it's also necessary to strike the right balance between openness with responsibility. Yeah, we get it. All of the cool AI stuff has to stay caged in a box forever. In all seriousness, viewers, I do think that they have a pretty good point here. This is some pretty powerful technology. There are significant dangers when it comes to voice cloning technology. It's not just, making a famous person say something slightly naughty. There's actually a pretty recent little piece of news where someone used 11 Labs, the tech we literally just used, to clone a girl's voice and then call up her mom and demand ransom money by making it seem like that same exact girl was under distress. So, there are some real significant dangers and bad actors out there for tech like this. But if anyone's eventually going to make this open source and available for everybody, it is going to be Meta AI, because they've released quite a lot of open source research before, much unlike Google. But viewers, also, as they said, they actually developed a model to recognize speech made by Voicebox and speech that isn't. So if they can make that thing reliable, then a really significant amount of the damage that could be caused with a model such as Voicebox could be mitigated. Maybe not stuff like that ransom example I just shared, but that is the kind of technology that we need. We need some way to detect whether, a little sample clip is AI generated or not. Well, AI might be the solution to AI danger after all. Fight fire with fire? I don't know. Let me know what you viewers think down in the comments below. I do think that they're going to release this though, because Meta AI, they are not first place always as a tech company, so they try harder and they push harder for stuff. That's why they've made so much stuff open source and really push for that research. I believe in them. Thanks for watching, viewers, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.